A very good afternoon to you. This is KTN Weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. The chairman of the Council of Governors, Isaac Ruto, has dismissed the list issued to the president by the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission as political and a tool to intimidate outspoken leaders. Speaking at a fundraiser in Transmara, Ruto said the buck stops with the president and his deputy.
Wakubwa wa nchi hii wafuate na kutii sheria na wawache kutijatisha watu kila mahali na wafuate haki. Sisi hatuna shida, tunachunga pesa ambayo tumepewa na tunafuata haki kwa kuchunga hiyo pesa, na wa Nairobi wafuate pia na wachunge pesa ama namna gani? Kwa hiyo kile njala.
The Senate Committee on Legal Affairs and Human Rights has lashed out at the Council of Governors for defending governors accused of corruption. The committee was reacting to the Council of Governors' statement on Friday that the president has no powers to call for the resignation or suspension of implicated governors. The committee is now piling pressure on the named governors to resign. Led by Busia Senator Amos Wako, the committee says that the implicated governors are morally bound to pave way for investigations. Wako, however, cautioned legislators against what he termed as mob lynching of the suspects during the debates on Tuesday.
That the sovereignty of this country vests in the people. It's only the people who can, through pressure, make them step down as the investigations continue. In fact, that applies, I think, to all the elected leaders. Yes. One cannot, neither the Constitution nor the ordinary legislation conceive of forcing an elected person to resign.
We must remind the country that the only way that corruption can be fought is through institutions. And we are asking the institutions concerned, including the EACC, to remember that they have a mandate to the Republic of Kenya. These sort of squabbles that we have had them engage in are not going to help this country, because they are the ones who the country is calling upon or waiting upon to ensure that we understand corruption.
Marengo County Governor Benjamin Cheboy is warning that the deteriorating security in the area will force his government to allow residents to own firearms to protect themselves against cattle rustlers. Cheboy says other communities have armed themselves and Marengo County will follow suit unless the government provides sufficient security. The area governor was speaking at Bortolimo sub-location in Marengo County during a free livestock health clinic.
The Turkana people have armed themselves or rather possess illegal firearms because of the absence of sufficient security forces from the government. The Pokots have done the same. The Samburus have done the same. People from this county are law-abiding. They would not like to buy illegal firearms. But as a last resort, we have no choice but to allow them to buy illegal firearms so that they can protect themselves. If and only if the government does not, and I want to underline, if and only if the government does not provide security for the people of this county.
Labour Cabinet Secretary Kazungu Kambi has stepped aside in compliance with President Uhuru Kenyatta's Thursday directive. Addressing a press conference earlier today at his ministry's office, Kambi reiterated his sentiments that he was ready to resign from office if found guilty of any corruption scandals. In his ministry, he urged the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to speed up their investigations.
Directive, I have called you here today to inform Kenyans that I have stepped aside, and I did that yesterday, as the Cabinet Secretary for Labor, Social Security and Services. The move is meant to pave way for the smooth investigations by the anti-corruption unit. As a law-abiding citizen who also respects the rule of law, I would not want my staying in office to hamper the investigations. As I step aside, I urge the anti-corruption to comply with the 60-day timeline spelled out to conclusively and comprehensively carry out the investigations as directed by His Excellency the President.
Christians today mark the last Sunday before Easter. In Kisumu, faithfuls at St. Joseph Milimani Catholic Church attended this year's Palm Sunday, led by Reverend Father Moses Omolo. The church members marched from along the streets to the church in song and dance. They prayed for peace in Kenya. Palm Sunday is a Christian ceremony that falls on the Sunday before Easter, the feast commemorating Jesus' triumph entry into Jerusalem, an event mentioned in all four Nicole Gospels. To health matters now. Cerebral palsy is a condition that affects muscle control and movement. It is usually caused by an injury to the brain before, during or after birth. Caring for a child with cerebral palsy is not easy, especially if you have no income. I met Ruth Mwenja, a courageous mother whose unconditional love for her son gives her the strength to take each day as it comes. Here's her story.
Denial at first, because I was like, no, it cannot be my baby, and probably not me.
Every pregnant woman's dream is to give birth to a healthy baby, one with no complications whatsoever. Especially if you're a first-time mother, you will be anxious to attend your antenatal clinics just to make sure that everything is okay. 27-year-old Ruth Mwenja was overjoyed when she found out she was pregnant back in 2010. And like most mothers, she was looking forward to a healthy baby. But fate had something else in store for her.
No, there was no signs. And every time I visited a clinic, for my antenatal clinic, everything was fine. The pregnancy was smooth throughout.
After seeing her story on social media, I decided to pay Ruth Mwenja a visit to witness firsthand her struggles of raising baby Nevi. Meet Neville Ndungu, an innocent 3-year-old boy who cannot comprehend what is happening in his surroundings because he has one of the most severe cases of cerebral palsy. Baby Nevi cannot even respond to his mother's loving touch. The only time he makes any movement is when he's uncomfortable, in pain, or having convulsions. During our interview, baby Nevi suffered quite a few convulsions, and on several occasions we had to stop the interview and let him get better. It's lunchtime at Ruth Mwenja's single-room house. She's getting ready to feed Nevi. His feeding utensils must be handled with utmost hygiene. Nevi's food consists of arrowroots, chicken, rice and carrots, which have to be mashed, sieved and then diluted to become liquid in order to go through the tube. Nevi is unable to feed through the mouth. However, the little boy never goes hungry and is never late for his meals. His mother Ruth has mastered the art of caring for him. She carefully sets everything in place.
It's an open wound, that's why we have put a bandage there.
This tube, known as the gastronomy tube, is very expensive, costing 40,000 shillings. It has to be changed every month, and at the moment, Ruth only has one. The opening on baby Nevi's stomach, where the tube is connected, has to be cleaned and dressed twice a day. otherwise it can become septic. Baby Nevi is supposed to have physiotherapy every day, which cost 1,000 shillings a session. But his mother, who lost her job due to constant absenteeism, cannot afford it. The lack of therapy has made Nevi's limbs extremely stiff. No insurance company wants to cover brain damage and cater for anticonvulsant drugs.
Yes, I lost my job last February because taking Nevi to hospital is like an everyday job.
Even though Ruth is no longer in denial and has accepted that her baby will never be like other babies, she attributes Nevi's condition to medical negligence.
During the review, the doctor told me that I had already dilated and I should have my baby that day. But I was surprised because I was not in any labor pain.
Ruth was induced, and that is when her nightmare began.
So they induced the labor, and after a few hours after inducement, my labor began. I labored. It was my first time, so I kept pressing the bell. At a point when the nurses were so mad because I kept pressing the bell, and they told me you should not ring the bell again until you see water or blood.
Ruth did not see any water or blood, and so she labored until the following morning.
The same doctor came for checkup. He broke the water. Then he ordered that I should be put on drip. So the second day I was put on drip.
At 5 o'clock, Ruth was taken to the delivery room, and once again she was told to push, but nothing was coming out.
And then at around 6 p.m., the same doctor came back. And when he came back, he said, when unasumbua watu hapa, you're going to push that baby whether you are in labor or not. He told one of the male nurse there to put his elbow on my belly, so they will push. So the nurse would push my belly with his elbow, and that's how Nevi was born. I was so happy, but then he said, have you seen what you have done to the baby?
According to Dr. Sami Chalo, a gynecologist, all hope is not lost for patients with cerebral palsy.
With the coming up of the stem cell therapy, I think we may get some sort of treatment with the advent of the stem cell therapy.
Ruth continues to bravely share her story with no fear of stigma on all social media platforms to create awareness and for emotional and financial support. She hopes that her story will change society's mindset about cerebral palsy. Welcome back. Now, women leaders from the Maendeleo Wanawake Nairobi County have applauded the president for suspending public servants implicated in corruption. The women spoke in Nairobi today.
We stand by and fully support the bold step by His Excellency the President Uhuru Muigai Kenyatta to take the fight against corruption to the highest and most unprecedented level. We commend those cabinet secretaries who have taken the audacious step of honoring the President's directive and stepped aside to allow for investigations. We, however, take great exception with leaders from other levels of government who have been mentioned in the report and who continue to remain obstinate on keeping their elected positions.
On regional matters now, voting in Nigeria's general election has been extended to today in 300 out of 150,000 polling stations. The Electoral Commission said this was after technical glitches marred polling stations nationwide. Technical problems with new biometric cards slowed down voter registration, even affecting President Goodluck Jonathan. More than 20 people have reportedly been killed in various attacks by unknown gunmen, with the blame likely to fall on Boko Haram.
APC, PDP.
Well, that's it on the weekend at 1. My name is Najma Ismail. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday.